Hey everybody, welcome to Leon's Chainsaw Parts and Repair. Haven't done a lot of chainsaw work this weekend. Soccer, gymnastics, lunch after soccer, and then the drone got here. So I know I had said I was going to buy a remote microphone systems first, but Hover Air had the X1 on sale with the extra batteries for a very good price. So I pulled the trigger on that during Amazon's spring blah whatever. So I've been playing with that, and to unlock more flight modes you have to do various flights, and it's not the smartest drone, and that's exactly why I bought it. Anyway, I've been playing with that, so when we get up on the firewood hill I'll play with it some more. But today, before we lose the weekend, let's take a peek at a Super XL automatic and see what we can figure out about it. This one would appear to be a 1975 model. I don't see a lot number on here, but I would say that this muffler is not what was originally on here, but I'm okay with that because, yeah, I prefer that style of muffler. What do we know about it? Not much. The recoil isn't good. I mean, it's starting to get there, but something's grinding. Can you hear that? I am very curious about that, whether we have one of the infamous fuel tank bolts that is backed off, or if there's an internal engine problem. I hope that's not the case. I actually want to make this a runner, if I can. Okay. Bar studs are not tight. I didn't think so. Not sure about this. I'm not sure what we got going on. But let's pull the starter cover and find out. If worst comes to worst, this can be a parts saw. But I am not ready to concede defeat just yet. Okay. So it's been upgraded to electronic ignition. That certainly didn't come on the 1975 version. Let's see if the starter is just dry. Probably would give this one more wrap. I'm going to squirt a little bit of WD. There we go. Get into the spring. Okay, that's good. Alright, let's take a listen. What is... There's a really rough spot right there. Is it rubbing on the flywheel magnet? That would be a hell of a coincidence. Maybe that's all it is. So we're going to loosen that up and we're going to re-gap that. Or maybe gap it for the first time. Because I'm not convinced that it was gapped previously. It might have just been installed and let go. No, there's something else going on there. Boy, that is pronounced. Alright, let's pull the muffler. And let's see. Yes, this has been sitting outside since I hosed it off about a week ago. And it hasn't gotten warm enough to fully dry out, I guess. That's why it's got a little water here. Oh yeah. Oh, that piston's completely destroyed. Cool. Not really. I really wanted this to... Oh, that's never going to run again. Wow. Let me spray some brake clean in there and see if I can get some of the oil off. This thing overheated. You can see the deposits in the muffler port there. That's some aluminum. And probably some cylinder lining. It's not... Doesn't look like it on the... right there. That's actually, I think, in the bottom end. Rod bearing shot in this. So watch the piston for movement and compare it to the clutch. Drivecase bearing's okay. And I actually think yeah, the bearings on the outer housings are okay. It's either the connecting rod or wrist pin bearing is shot. And because of where it's doing it at top dead center. God, that's rough. I want to see that. I want to see what's going on. Let's tear it down. It's not going to be a runner. I'll give that up right now. But there'll be some good parts on it. That's too bad. Before we get it too far, I want to try and test that ignition, see if we can make it turn over well enough to at least confirm that that blue coil is worth a crap. Based on what I'm seeing, I'll bet it is. I'll bet there's not a damn thing wrong with the coil. The problems on this saw are going to be entirely in the engine if I had to take a wild guess based on what I know right now. So with that, let's go ahead and pull the spark plug. The more of these you work on, the more at some point you will come across one that you can't save. And I don't remember which wise person once said it, probably a whole lot of us. You can't save them all. And the ones that you can't save become a way to save a whole bunch of other ones. And this is really, wow, not rusty in there. I don't know why the hell that was stuck so hard. But there's the reason that this one was parked. I think it was run, either it was run low on oil and then run hot, or just for some reason ran exceptionally hot. But I would say the mix wasn't right. And that's a strange coloring. It's almost a chocolate brown. Doesn't scream lean, but also doesn't scream, hey, I'm running right. Come on, you need to stay put. This thing's not going to cooperate with me at all. There we go. Let us see if we can get some spark out of this. That would at least make the teardown of this worthwhile. Oh man. God, that bearing sounds rough. But she's got good spark, so hey, I'll take that. Alrighty then. So let's start taking some stuff apart. We're going to get the cylinder off and see what happened to this saw. And I think that's going to be the goal here. We'll just see what parts we come up with along the way that are going to be worthwhile. And there will be some. Okay. Gotten in the habit, when I remember to do it, of leaving the nut on the flywheel, or on the crankshaft, when I'm going to do a pull like this, just to help minimize damage to the threads in case you get one that's real persnickety. Not that we ever have anything that's persnickety on this channel, except for me, of course. Alright, this off. That doesn't want to spin down all the way. That ought to be enough bite. Speaking of persnickety, I must have been spinning the nut down a little bit. There she goes. Oh yeah, I guess I was a little proud on the nut there. Ideally you want it flush with the crankshaft, and I think I was slightly not flush. Oh well. Still spins on and off, I'll bet. Like butter. Oh yeah. Well, it's not completely plugged up. That's trash. In there. Not totally. Airflow is reduced, but it's not at a point where I think that's what caused this thing to eat itself. Alright. Just let that dangle for a moment. Need to get our carburetor out of the way. Never hurts my feelings to have a carb to rebuild and throw in the store. There's always somebody who needs one or just does not want to take the time to rebuild theirs. And I get it. If you find yourself in that situation and you have bought a rebuilt carb from me and you have one laying around that you don't want to, you're not going to use, talk to me about getting a bit of a core refund. It's not going to be massive, but I'd hate to see it go in the trash. If it's something I could rebuild and put, you know, again, get ready for somebody else. I don't want to see any of these components thrown away at this point that don't have to be. They are not growing on trees. Now that's abnormal to have the reed block stick like that. Oop. Okay. You can tap it loose real carefully. That one worked well. None of the reeds are damaged that I can see, which means this likely wasn't ingesting a bunch of crap, but you knew that by looking at the airbox. So the scoring in that cylinder, it's extraordinarily unlikely to have anything to do with the intake side. I really think it just got too hot. Okay. God, she doesn't want to come off. Look how tight that. Oh, here we go. All right, let me capture some hardware real quick before I. A lot of condensation in this. That's weird. It shouldn't have been. No, yeah. This got hot and ate the chrome. In fact, here's a piece of. Wow. That little piece of metal just came out. That's magnetic. That's not aluminum, that's steel. So what did that come off of? And was that what I was feeling? Is that a crunched up piece of rod bearing? Alright. So on the exhaust side, hopefully you guys can see that scoring. Yeah, that shop light always makes it worse. Down at the bottom, there is a chunk that has appeared to be hammered in place. Let's see if I can break that loose. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Here we go. I think this thing's was ingesting rod bearing needles. And that's why it was difficult to turn, I think. Let's see what else we can find. Alright, wrist pin bearing's not the issue. So the piston rings are free on most of it. And then this side is good and scored. Oh, there's where something rode. See that much deeper groove right there? Something rode that. Where did that come from? Because that doesn't feel as rough now. And it doesn't feel loose enough. I don't know. I don't know what we're dealing with here. Alright, I'm going to try to cheat, and I'm going to leave the piston on the connecting rod. We'll take this thing loose. And we'll look at our needles, see if we can find an explanation for that, because the piston rings are not broken. But man, that's a deep gouge. Man, this is a mess. Can't tell for certain, but I think I'm seeing some chew marks between the crankshaft counterweights and the drive case there by the bearing. Those are two good chunks of metal. And it looks like, I don't know, I'm not going to say that it's more than just one needle. It may just be one that managed to snap in half. And who knows, maybe it was left in here after the last rebuild. Okay. All right, all the needles stayed in there. Now there's definitely wear, or at least a heat mark. It's not rough, there's no scoring. That wrist pin is moving side to side, but the bearing's not shot. So let's hold that thought. Let me dump some of this grease. I want to save my two little chunkers of metal. And I don't see any others there. And we'll dump those out. Maybe. And she just got tight. Did I jam a needle? Oh, come on. What the hell's going on? I can't see down in there. Come on. Come on. Doesn't help that this is a wet mess. Oh. I think the bearing has come apart. We'll look at that closer, but when I get it apart, but look in here. That's the roller retainer right there, and it's hitting the side of the crankshaft. That's interesting. Alright. There should be 31 of these needles. Let me see if I can do a quick count. Yeah, that cap doesn't look totally roached. There we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30. Either there's still one in there or I can't count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30. There it is. I don't need a chunker of grease. 31. So those are all visually accounted for. And they will not, I'll put them with the piston for right now. Any engine that's had metal in the destructive nature of what happened, we don't trust those parts. So That crap's all going to head for the scrap heap, but I'll just keep it together for the moment. The screws are still good. Alright, I may end up regretting what I did here by not taking the clutch off sooner. I will almost certainly end up regretting that. But that's what we do here. So let's see if we can get everything apart. I didn't expect that I'd need to take a peek at a bearing. That's not 5/8, that is 9/16. And that is a torn glove. Okay, that sprocket has enough wear. I will not be saving that. But we know the bearing is good, and that clutch is pretty damn good too. Alright, what are the odds that I can cheat and use the rattle gun? See, I always know better, but I always want to try. Ow. Yes, those flywheel fins are sharp. And holding on to them tightly does not feel good. Yeah, that is a good used clutch. Never mind having some of those. Alright, deal with getting the oiler off. Oh! I wonder now if this might have had an air leak at some point. Oh, and this thing re-seized itself on there. Oh, don't do that. Please. Thank you. Magnets are going to grab everything. The oil pump worm gear came off. That's good. You don't have to fight with that. Quit fiddling around. My oh moment. Somebody must have stripped one of those screws and they oversized it. And that is a big damn screw head. I don't know if I can get that. Well, we'll see if a screwdriver will take it loose. Otherwise, we'll have to get that oil pump. Oh no, I'm not doing that. That's a disaster waiting to happen. That is not how we're going to do this. If that thread wasn't upsized appropriately, there'd be a cracked housing under here too. In the crankcase itself, that looks like an ignition screw from a 925 that would be 1/4 20. So they'd be going from the 1224 to 1/4 20. Maybe it's 1220. I can't remember. Coarse thread number 12 to 1/4 inch. Those crankcases aren't that hard of metal, but still, those bosses aren't huge, as I recall, those thread bosses. Okay, you gonna come out without fighting with me? No. There we go. Always have to see if it's a good pump. Oh yes. Oh yes indeed. Just needs cleaned. Alright. Now you can see that oversized screw a hell of a lot better. Let's try and knock this thing apart. No. The other 7/16. That wasn't tap, that was just force fed into there. So we know that that stuff's junk. I wonder why the hell. That doesn't make any sense to me. Okay. Other than junk, yeah, boy, something came apart in here at some point. You can see the kind of drag rub marks in here, you know. And there's corrosion from moisture, not a huge amount, but some. Okay, my concern, yeah, I'll bet it was leaking right there. See how it's not totally level around those threads? That's because it wasn't prepped. There could have been an air leak there. And there is no... That's the remnants of the gasket. Where's the gasket? You know, I think that may be what did this in, but I still don't know where that metal came from. But we're going to find out. I think there was a massive air leak around here. Where's the crankcase gasket? And there's a huge divot right here. That's deep. That's like a 32 of an inch deep, which no is not a huge amount, but if that was a score in a cylinder, you'd be like, ugh! This didn't seal up. I think it had a giant air leak here. There's, yeah, here we go. Here we go. Here's a remnant of gasket. It's gotten so hot right there that it just broke away. And you can see this buildup around the bearing, and there's that bearing shell. Alright, I'm not going to be polite to this because we're not saving it. There's nothing about this that I would trust selling to somebody. So let's get those damn screws out, and then I will use inappropriate methods to remove the... is my big flathead. I use inappropriate methods to remove that bearing from the housing, like I say, because I am not selling that to somebody. No way in the world. Oh, that's so rough. I can feel whatever's going on. That almost hit me in the finger. There we go. Come on. That doesn't sound great. Alright, normally I would take some pains to protect this crankshaft end, but we're not reusing any part of that. It's going in the scrap bin. Yeah. Okay. The actual bearing cage broke on this. There's a piece of it right there that's completely loose. It's missing a piece entirely. Wow. Watch those balls. I mean, there's supposed to be slack in there, there's distance between them, but they're supposed to be held in by that bearing cage, and that bearing cage is just an exploded mess. I don't know if I don't think I can get that piece out of there, and I'm not going to waste my time trying to press that off. What I will do, if I can, without too much trouble here, show you what a new bearing ought to look like. See if that one has any identifiers. Must be unreadable because of grease, but Most of these were, I'm sure I'm pronouncing it wrong, but a Nachi, I don't know, bearing. Come on, get out of there. So you can see what the complete bearing cage looks like when it's fully assembled. I'm not going to put any crap in there. It's holding those rollers at equidistance apart, and that way it's a smooth rotating assembly. We've got whole chunks of this that are missing, and I'm going to assume that that is what those chunks of metal are and were, is bearing cage. That's an interesting one for me. I have not seen that happen before. I've seen these bearings, or heard these bearings get noisy, but for it to crap a chunk of cage out and do that to a piston, oof. So, obviously I've got a bunch of work here to clean up parts and get them listed in the store, which I'll do. Cause and effect. What's the total CSI on this one? Yeah. Where did it start? Well, somebody clearly made a repair. And somebody also had issues with this drive case loosening up. It wasn't just that one bolt. Look at how wallered out. Oops, sorry. Look how wallered out that hole is compared to the rest. Even the one that was oversized up here. What happened is these screws loosened up for some reason and they were sitting there. This drive case was rotating back and forth, which probably accounts for the missing gasket. Now, because you have to take this apart this far, most people didn't know that. The homeowner guys trying to work on their saws didn't know you had to go this far to get your crankshaft out. So they never had a chance to look for that gasket and inspect it and see if it was okay. So my guess is a screw went missing, all the rest were loose, so that one got upsized. It had already destroyed that gasket, but it was slammed back together, pulled tight, and still run with an air leak. Normally the piston is going to go like this with an air leak if you run it for too damn long. The bearing is what I can't totally get my mind wrapped around, because if the bearing had gotten super hot, there should be some discoloration around the crankshaft and the bearing. And I'm not seeing that, so maybe it was a defective bearing? I don't know. Maybe there's more than one cause of this thing's demise. But an air leak, when you think about this, that could, a massive air leak around that drive case could help deprive this of lubrication, because you see it's pretty sheltered by the crank. It's relying a lot on splash off of the crankshaft to get over here, and if you've got an air leak that's pushing material out, hence how greasy this is, I don't know. I really don't know. But that bearing, oh hell, I just got a piece to fall out like that. Oh, here we go. Here's some more chunks. Those all came out as I knocked it apart. Oh wow. Alright. And look how greasy and just destroyed those are. That's bearing cage. So, alright. I could sit here and pontificate for far longer than necessary. This be screwed. This one's not going to be a runner again. So I'll clean up the parts that are worth cleaning up and saving and get them in the store. So that old, how do I know if a saw is any good? Well, this one definitely gave some clues by how hard it was to turn over. And you can kind of start to get a feel on a starter as to whether it's the starter or whether it's the engine. And where it has a turn free and then it kind of binds up and then pops again, you're going to have, and whether it's a bearing, a bad piston, something like that. There's a difference between a compression bump and a oh, I'm caught on metal, and oh, I just pulled free. You get a feel for it. Compression, you get the, you kind of hear it in the exhaust. With this, you heard the grinding. And this bearing, I mean, that's one of the worst that I've seen. And it's scary to think that I probably could have gassed this saw up and run it for a couple minutes more like this. It probably would have. I would assume when it was shut down last, it was extraordinarily hot in the engine, but having said that, other than at the exhaust port where you can see the material that's actually baking on, that's not just carbon, that's got an aluminum tinge to it. I would expect to see a little more discoloration here. So, I don't know. But there we go. There's some carnage. That was not what I was expecting. Bearing cage blew apart, air leak, scored piston. Somebody had a bad day. Catch you guys on the next video.